to know that the top 20 words we use in everyday usage are all Saxon. David Oddy uses a lot. Take her a kinnair in bathroom. Well, one of David's favourite expressions. A guy brought one of his guitars, and people can get very precious about these instruments. They're just tools, really. They are lovely things, but they are just bits of wire and wood. But people do get very sort of possessive, and particularly people who maybe don't do it for a living, I think. But when it's your everyday, it's basically just a musical chainsaw. But, this guy brought a guitar, and it must have been agonising for months, because he drove all the way back from the Midlands and took it back to David. He said, David, listen, every time I play this note, it rattles. And David said, well, play it then. I love that logic. And after I've been telling these stories, I got so good at that general sort of personality that I decided to be that person when I got cold callers. It's been such fun for the last year. It started about a year ago. All the power supply companies, purely accidentally, they don't collude obviously, but they all started phoning up and asking what tariffs you were paying, because they were trying to poach everybody else's customers. And this guy phoned up and said, excuse me sir, how much do you pay for electricity? I said, well, I'm not paying nothing, it's brilliant. He said, you must be. I said, no, the thing is, my brother who was wiring up the farm next door, I've patched into him. I suppose you can match that, so bugger off. And he put the phone down. So by now, I was quite enjoying this. So the next person that phoned was from Everest Double Glazing. And the lady said, would you be in need of replacement doors and windows? I said, the thing is, darling, didn't me, I just broke in, didn't I? And she actually said she'd phone back, which was a lot. And then I must have had too much coffee, but one guy phoned. I decided whatever the topic was, I would talk about my printer without interruption. It was great. The guy said, so, I said, yeah, I'm glad you phoned. Your colleague said you'd phone because the printer's working now. It was by the radio. Well, I tell him that. It wasn't by the radio this morning. It was by the telly, but maybe I unplugged it because of paper fuel. He said, no, it's not about the printer. I said, that's right, when your colleague was talking about it. The thing is, it must have been a television. It wasn't Wednesday, maybe it was Tuesday. It must have been Tuesday because the car was broken. And he got so, I could hear him shouting, not printer, not the printer. And I said, and then during a gap he said, broadband. I said, yeah, that's what the printer's used for, because the thing is the printer's I told the guy from BT I didn't have a phone, that confused me. I'm not on the phone. But my latest triumph is two triumphs. In the car, driving along, the guy said, we understand you've made no provision for your funeral. I said, well, that died 2 years ago, mate. And that confused him. But the accident that wasn't your fault, guy, he was very insistent. He spent about 15 minutes trying to persuade me I'd been involved in this accident that wasn't my fault. And I was trying to convince him that it was. It was a great conversation. He was very confident. He said, accident wasn't your fault. I said, well, depends which way you looked at it, really. But he said, no, but it wasn't your fault. I said, well, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. He said, no, but we have records. I said, well, I have been drinking. He slammed the phone down. I was so involved in the character, I thought, how bloody rude that was. I do believe I shall speak to his mother. The PPI, I forgot that one. The guy, he said, we've got £2,214 in my name. I said, where's your office then? He said, Aylesbury. I said, yeah, we go to Aylesbury. I said, we can be round within the hour. You might remember this one. I'm sitting in the morning sun. I'll be sitting when the evening comes. watching the tide roll away, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, heading for Cisco Bay. Now I got nothing to live for. Looks like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Looks like nothing's gonna change. Everything remains the same. Can't be what people want me to be, so I guess it just stays the same. Sitting here resting my bones, and this loneliness won't leave me alone. 2,000 miles I roam, just to make this